Let's dive right in. Today, we're going to peek under the hood of a modern warehouse and get into the mind of SAP EWM. We're going to unpack how this incredibly smart system can look at literally any product that comes through the door and, in a flash, know its perfect home, right down to the exact shelf.
I mean, just try to picture this for a second. You've got thousands of different products, pallets, boxes, all showing up at once. If you don't have a super intelligent system directing all that traffic, you've got pure chaos on your hands. So how in the world does a modern warehouse turn that potential disaster into something that runs like clockwork? Well, the answer lies in its powerful digital brain. And for our explainer today, let's just think of the SAP EWM system as an intelligent, smart sorter. You know, this isn't a system that's just blindly following commands. No, it's making a whole series of logical decisions, kind of like a master librarian who knows exactly where to shelve thousands of different books.
So how does it actually do it? Well, our smart sorter doesn't guess, not at all. It follows a really clear step-by-step process to solve this giant sorting puzzle. The best way to think of it is like a funnel. It starts out with a really wide search and just keeps getting narrower and narrower until it lands on that one perfect spot. And this is that path. This is the roadmap. First, it figures out the general area, what we call the storage type. Then, it can narrow that down even further to a specific aisle or a storage section. It can even check for the right size shelf, a bin type. And finally, a specific rule picks the exact bin, and the system does one last check to make sure there's enough room. So let's break down how it thinks through each of these steps. Okay, so first things first. The biggest, most important decision is just finding the right zone. This is the system's big opening move, figuring out the general neighborhood where a product is supposed to live. Is it something that needs to go to cold storage? Is it a big pallet that belongs in bulk racking? Or is it a bunch of tiny parts that need to go on the small parts shelving? The key to this whole thing is something called the storage type search sequence. Just picture this as the sorter's master checklist. For any product you can think of, this list tells it, okay, first check zone A. If that's full, go check zone B. And if that doesn't work, try zone C. It's basically the primary instruction manual for where to even start looking. So how does it pick the right checklist? It's not just guessing, right? It scans a ton of data, both from the product itself and the delivery info. For example, it looks for something called a Putaway control indicator. That's like a special tag on the product that might say store this flat or keep this refrigerated. It also checks things like hazard ratings or if the stock is actually owned by someone else, like consignment stock. It's gathering all these little clues to find the perfect strategy. And this is where the system's efficiency is just brilliant. It doesn't start with some vague general search. First, it looks for a rule that matches all the specific details of that product. But if it can't find one, it's got this awesome fallback plan called an access strategy. It just starts removing criteria one by one until it finds a broader match that still works. It's just incredibly logical. All right, so the general zone is locked in. Now our sorter can get even more specific. It's time to decide on the best aisle, or in EWM language, the best storage section to use inside that zone. Now, you don't have to use storage sections, it's an optional step, but honestly, this is where the real magic of warehouse optimization starts to happen. By dividing a big storage area up into these smaller sections, you can create some really powerful targeted rules for exactly where specific kinds of products should go. And here's the classic example. You can set up an aisle right near the shipping doors and call it the fast section. For your most popular products, the ones that fly off the shelves, the system will always try to put them there first. But for the slow movers, the stuff that sits around for a while, you can tell the system to only look in the slow section way at the back of the warehouse. And, this is crucial, you can tell it to never put those slow movers in that valuable fast real estate. That simple bit of logic has a massive impact on your efficiency down the line. Okay, so our smart sorter has its zone, it has its aisle, it's closing in. Now it's time to find the exact individual storage bin, the product's final destination. But before it just grabs any old empty spot, the system can make another really smart optional check for something called a bin type. This is just pure physical logic. You wouldn't try to park a giant truck in a spot marked for motorcycles, right? Same idea. It's making sure you don't try to cram a large pallet into a bin that's only designed for a small one. It's just matching the physical object to the physical space.
And the crucial thing here is the system's persistence. It has this never-give-up attitude. As this quote from the documentation points out, if it searches its favorite spot and finds no room, it doesn't just throw an error. It logically falls back. It'll try the next best bin type, then the next best section, and if all else fails, it'll try the next best storage type from its original master list. It will always find a home for that product. So, this standard logic is incredibly powerful. But what if you have a special requirement? What if you need to, influence the sorter's decision-making a bit without having to completely reprogram the whole thing? Well, this is where SAP EWM gives you two really clever tools for fine-tuning: priorities and evaluation points. Think of these as ways you can customize the put-away logic to perfectly match your warehouse's unique strategy. Let's compare them real quick. Priorities are kind of like a simple light switch, on or off, high or low. You can tell the system, hey, for this product, matching the bin type is the most important thing. But evaluation points, those are like a volume dial. They let you assign a numeric score to different things, which gives you incredibly detailed, granular control over the search. And this right here is why evaluation points are a total game changer. You could, for example, assign a really high score to all of your fast sections, even if they're in totally different storage areas of the warehouse. This tells the system, look, before you even think about putting this in a slow section anywhere, I want you to first search every single fast section in the entire warehouse. I mean, that's a level of strategic control you just can't get with simple priorities. So we've gone pretty deep into how the smart sorter thinks. But let's zoom out for a second and ask the really big question. Why does all this obsessive detail actually matter? Why is this automated logic such a game changer for a modern warehouse? Well, it matters because inefficiency costs a fortune. Just look at this breakdown. Travel time and put-away time, that's the vast majority of where time is spent in a warehouse. Every single second you save by not having a worker just wandering around looking for an empty space, that's real money back in your pocket. And the impact of getting this rate is enormous. A well-configured put-away strategy can dramatically cut the time it takes to store things, it lets you pack more into the space you already have, and, this is the big one, it makes picking for customer orders faster because everything is already in its optimal place to begin with. So, the ultimate takeaway is this. What we've just walked through isn't just about a bunch of technical settings. It's about transformation. This precise automated logic takes what could be a totally chaotic, messy process and turns it into a highly efficient, predictable, and, at the end of the day, a much more profitable operation. But of course, the smart sorter is only as smart as the rules you give it. We've seen all the building blocks of this powerful logic. So the final thought I'll leave you with is this. Now that you know the tools, how would you arrange these pieces to design the perfect, hyper-efficient warehouse?
All right,